George Kilpatrick, inspiration for the nation, celebrating people we feel good about. About 46 years ago, I was a student in Biology 101. My professor was Dr. Marvin Druger, who is now emeritus faculty at Syracuse University, but he's been piddling around with this and that and the other. He's an author. He's got a book out called Strange Creatures and Other Poems About Life. And you used to hear his segments on WAER for many years, and now here we are. So, Dr. Marvin Druger, how you doing?
Good.
Good.
Well, I
good.
think the oldest thing on WAER, I'm still on as part of my unretirement.
Okay.
Which I do. 2014 was officially my retirement. 2009, I'm sorry, was officially the retirement, but I decided to unretire. And I have my radio program on WAER, if you don't mind my mentioning the station.
Please.
Science on the Radio.
Science on the Radio, okay.
Write articles.
So forget Bill Nye, we got you.
And I have my new poetry book that just came out about a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Strange Creatures and Other Poems About Life.
Yeah, so tell me about why you decided to unretire.
Well, I got tired of watching ball games on television, and I decided as you get older, you're bound to get something you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
So my theme is I want to do more before I have to do less.
I hear that.
So that's the theme.
So how old are you now?
I don't even want to tell you. You want me really to tell you?
Yeah, I do.
89.
89. And look at that. Wow.
This is a miracle.
Hope and pray.
So quickly.
My gosh. So yeah, like I said, I remember you in biology back in the day, but you had a love of teaching, and you continue to love teaching, and now you're writing poetry. It's all about rediscovering. And so let's talk about the radio show. What do you do on the radio show? How do you educate us there?
Regional radio show. I think I'm the longest lived person on WAER. I started with them in 1971. I had a program called Druger's Zoo.
Yes.
The program was interview program with all sorts of people from the streets and non-famous people. Although everybody's famous in my mind, but these non-famous people, what do they do in their real lives? It was 5 minutes, 5 times a week, every day. Students ran the station totally.
Back in the day, yeah.
Yeah, they were wonderful. They ran the station, and I'd record on Tuesday. I'd get some kind of a guest, and then they'd play them during the week if they remembered. And it was really a tremendous thing. And I'm still on WAER. So it's been a long evolution there.
Wow.
Starting with Druger Zoo. And actually, I interviewed 2 famous people, and I still remember them very vividly. And one was Isidore Rabi, who was a Nobel Prize winning physicist at Columbia University. And I remember I always learned from these people I interviewed. And in his case, what I learned was I used to run programs, and I still do, for gifted students, talented science. Sure. Mm-hmm. And I said, this sounds like a waste to me because these guys are so smart, they'll do well anyhow. And he said, no, that's not right. He said, if you don't give them these kind of programs, if they don't become bright scientists, they might become bright gangsters. I never forgot that. And the other person I interviewed was Famous Amos, the Cookie Man. He was walking by the studio one day after it had moved to another building. And I saw him and I said, my God, that's Famous Amos, the Cookie Man. And I called to him and said, can I interview you? And he said, sure. And I never forgot the interview. Some of the things he told me, I'll never forget. And I think it's a great lesson in life. I said, well, what do you do now that's different now that you're so rich and famous? And he said, not much. He said, if you have 2 cars, you can only drive 1 car. You have 2 houses, you can only live in 1 house. And then he said something I never forgot. It's been a theme of my life. What more is there than what you need?
Yeah. That's a great, what's more than what you need, as long as all of your needs are met, right?
You don't really need anything else. And as long as you have your health. And I'm still with WAER. And that's kind of an interesting thing because I even go on before Rick Wright, who's Mr. Radio.
Now you got your finger in my frame, so just trying to move your finger out my frame a little bit. There you go. Okay.
Not used to this.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. So what are you doing now? You said you got other things going on. You're unretired. You're writing poetry. What else are you doing?
Well, I write articles for 55 Plus magazine,
Mm-hmm.
free magazine, and I think it was one of the best magazines in the country, among the top 10
All right.
people over 5. And I write. The nice thing about it is, in science, as you probably know, you send in your research article to the journal, and they turn it down.
Now let me move that phone. Keep that phone right there so I can see your face. We gotta train you guys.
They publish everything I write, so it's a really nice outlet for me. Yeah. And I find that it's helping people. I get a lot of good fan mail, and if I help people, I help myself. It makes you feel good.
All right. So you were saying?
Yeah, you feel good about the articles, and when people write fan letters to you, and it influences their life, that's what I'm all about. And so I always feel that if you help other people, you help yourself.
No, that's a beautiful thing. And so what is the secret, you think, to living to your age and being in good health? Because I don't know your health history, but it seems like you're doing okay to me.
Well, I've had my ups and downs, like everybody else does. And the other theme, you live by certain guidelines. And the other guideline is, as you get older, you're bound to get something you don't want.
Right.
And I hate to go to the doctor because every time you go to the doctor, you think you're in great shape. And he says, oh, by the way, you have this, that, and the other thing. I've had my ups and downs, and I've always exercised all my life. And I tell people now that the 3 things that work on me are my mind, fortunately, my mouth, and my money.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of me inside is kind of a wreck. I've had operations, and I've had some problems.
Mm-hmm. But you're doing okay now. So tell me about this book of poetry.
And when you recover from, I had a major surgery about a year ago. It was scar tissue. And the funny thing about that was they couldn't figure out what it was. But in 2000, I had a valvulus. It's like a twisted hose, and my intestine twisted. So they had to remove a lot of my colon. And 10 years later, I started getting symptoms. And the gastroenterologist said, I don't know what's wrong with you. And I had every test in the world. I had more stool tests than you can imagine. And then one day I was in the hospital having another test. And some guy comes in and he says, hi, I just wanted to say hello. I'm one of your former students. And I saw your name on the board. And I wanted to just come in and talk to you. And it turns out it was Dr. David Nesbitt, who's a prominent colon rectal surgeon. And I told him what the problem was. He said, I think you have scar tissue that grew over the years from the valvula. And sure enough, he did the operation. It was a 5-hour operation. Now, if I operated for 5 hours on somebody, I'd fall asleep. But he did it, and he did it very well. And I probably shouldn't even be here because there were other things that were wrong with my insides. They had MRIs, and they couldn't figure out what was attached to what. Everything was all mixed up. So I'm kind of a mess inside. But he saved my life, gave me another couple of years to go on. And I always tell people, I taught David how to dissect a frog, and now he's dissecting me.
What did we have to do back in the day? Frogs and cats, right? Is that what we had to dissect?
Oh, no. We did fetal pigs.
Fetal pigs. Okay. Fetal pig. Now somebody's joining the call. Who is this?
Oh, I don't know.
Somebody is joining the call. Well, who do we have on the line?
It could be my son, Bob.
It's me.
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Good.
So what's going on?
George,
What's going on with you, Dr. Robert Druger, son of Marvin Druger? So you're a world famous ophthalmologist. What's going on with you, man?
I wouldn't say world famous. Lot over busy.
Well, I think you are. So you're joining the call. What do you want to contribute to how your father's been able to live so long and be such a good person?
Wait, what? Sorry, what was that?
What is it that you want to contribute about how your dad has been around so long and is such a good person?
his longevity is pretty amazing. He's done a lot of good things for a lot of people. Constantly getting letters, emails all the time from students that he's seen, that he's taught over the years. So he's done a lot of good. He touched a lot of people, which is a good thing.
Well,
Yeah.
50,000, if you count
Yeah,
them as
a lot of doctors have taken his classes long ago, and they were sort of motivated to go into their field because of him. It's amazing. So, and yet, some interesting little qualities. Like I have a thing, if you email my father, he emails you right back. Doesn't matter. He must get 1,000 emails a day. If you contact him, he gets right back to you. People get too busy and they sit around. Just the little things like that help.
What are you most proudest of your dad? Putting you on the spot.
Proud of my dad. He's just touched a lot of lives in a positive way. If you judge your life on how many people you've influenced, he's influenced a lot of people. Very nice. So
kind of a legacy, if you will.
He still does. Like his articles, he gets emails and about texts and phone calls about his articles that he writes now all the time. 55 plus magazine, people love that.
I told a friend that I taught 50,000 students, and he said, yes. He says, you've influenced and offended a lot of people.
So listen, let me hear one other thing in terms of longevity. You said your insides messed up, but what do you eat at 89 to be healthier?
Well, that's a very big problem. I must admit, when you get to a certain age, you see, I have my intestinal problems, and I'm always thinking about what am I going to eat next. And it is a problem. I don't know. There's nothing special.
Just whatever you can stomach, right? Right.
Oh, it's my intestine, and my food doesn't get absorbed very well because my colon is gone, most of it.
Right.
So it's kind of a problem. But I have an appetite, and I do eat, and I have lunch with my son Bob, but usually once or twice a week. Most of the time, I'm thinking about what am I going to have for dinner, and nothing special.
So let me hear one of your poems, because I think that's a really good way for us to share with the audience why you're so special. So what you got for me?
I started writing these poems because my granddaughter. I was reading my granddaughter Lindsay a children's book, and it was terrible, and it was published. And I said I could do better than this, and I started writing poems. And the poems are really designed to make people think about their own lives, and it's for children and adults. It's sort of like Shel Silverstein's style, but when I read his books, like Up in the Attic, it's all this stuff is silly. It doesn't really give you any message of any sort. It's good. It's great. Kids love it, but it's silly. My stuff has philosophical messages, and the theme of the book, Strange Creatures. I'll just read that poem. An elephant is big and strong. Its ears are large. Its nose is long. I laugh to see its funny face. Its body seems so out of place. But then I think how it would be if the elephant studied me. My face is thin. My body's tall. My head has hair. My nose is small. The elephant would laugh to see how strange I really seem to be. So it's that type of poem. And some of my poems, they're on all different subjects. And my favorite one is my love poem, which is dedicated to my wife. And you might remember from Biology 121, since you were a student of mine, that daylilies live one day. And so I wrote this poem. Which I have to find first.
That would be a good thing. That would be a good thing. Talking to Dr. Marvin Druger, Professor Emeritus. So go ahead at Syracuse University.
Well, let me find it someplace here.
You got it.
Okay, I'm getting there.
Well, you're almost there. This is live radio, so we do have to get there.
Yeah. I passed away in 2014.
Understand.
It's a horrible thing, of course, and I know you know what that feels like.
Yes, I do.
I really miss her, and so she liked astronomy, so I donated a lot of money to the university to fix the observatory, which is being used as an office. And they tossed out the guy who was there using it as an office, and it became the Tricia Myers Astronomy Learning Center in
Mm,
Holden Observatory.
nice.
And you walk in the door, and you see a beautiful picture of her. And I wrote a poem, and it's on a plaque next to her about the yellow daylily that lives one day. The yellow flower was beautiful. It sparkled in the sun. I put it in a vase to be seen by everyone. I told my wife the flower was as beautiful as she. They both had special features that brought happiness to me. The next day, the flower was gone. It lay upon the floor. It now was shrunken orange, and its yellow was no more. It was here for just an instant, but then it went away. I wish this lovely lily could have stayed just one more day.
That's beautiful.
That
That's
poem
beautiful.
is
Very
on a
special
plaque.
too. I love it.
Yeah, and it's that type of poem that kind of gives a good message to people. And I had
Mhm.
I put them all together in this one book, and it's kind of like a thought-provoking thing,
Yeah.
like the worm. It was on the sidewalk, a curled figure. It was all alone, no other worms in sight. How did it live? How did it die? Was it missed by its family? Did it have a happy life? There were no answers. It was now only a curled figure on the sidewalk.
Mm.
That kind of and the illustrations are all kind of childlike, but they're really good. I hired a professional artist to do illustrations.
Hmm.
I did, because in my mind, when I wrote a poem, I have a vision of what it should look like. And so I said, I can't draw, but what the heck, I'll try and I'll do it myself. So I did all the illustrations. And a professional artist said to me, who did the illustrations? They're great. I can't draw. And here's the spider. The spider made its web. It was a pretty sight. The silky threads were hard to see, especially at night. I flew right toward my home that was behind the tree. I didn't see the spider's web until it had trapped me. I hit against the threads, and my body stuck right there. I struggled to get free, but the web seemed everywhere. My struggle gave the signal, and then out came the spider. And before I knew what happened, I ended up inside her.
Dr. Marvin Druger, the book is called Strange Creatures and Other Poems About Life. And
I'll read one more fast.
all right, well, and tell us where you get the book. Where do you get the book?
You get it any place. You can get it on Amazon. Get it at the. You can have it ordered through your local bookstore. You can order it through Barnes and Noble, and I think it's about $18.75, which I don't have anything to do with the pricing, but most of the poems are based upon true things.
What's the last poem you're going to read?
Well, family visits.
Okay.
When I visit relatives, we always hug and kiss. That's a part of family life that I would like to miss. But my mom tells me to do it, so that's what I will do. I'll kiss everyone in sight, uncles, aunts, and cousins too. I'll kiss my way into the house. That's what visits are about. And when I leave, I'll say goodbye and kiss my pathway out.
Dr. Marvin Druger, Strange Creatures. Wait, it's called Strange Creatures, isn't it?
It's Strange Creatures and Other Poems About Life.
Strange Creatures and Other Poems About Life. Doc, we really appreciate you joining us, and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you very much, George. Are we finished now?
Yes, we are. Inspiration for the nation.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be on your show. And
You're welcome. Thank you, and you take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.